I am standing in the room of the Last Supper on Mount Zion. Some believe that this is the location of the Last Supper room. Although there is no solid archaeological evidence and the room itself was built in its final form only in the 14th century, it's an optional location and a traditional place for pilgrims to connect with the event of the Last Supper. The Last Supper is the Passover meal of the Jewish tradition. It is clearly mentioned in the Gospels. This supper was a defining moment in the life of Jesus that points to what's going to happen. We must understand the Jewish context of Passover celebration because these motives will recur constantly in our course. Jews have celebrated Passover for over 3,000 years. It is incredible for itself. Passover is one of the three high holidays. Before Jesus' time, it was the first holiday of the Hebrew calendar and marked the beginning of the year. Surely, the Passover is one of the most important days of the year for every Jew in Jesus' time and today. On Passover, Jewish families gather around the table for the Passover festive dinner until this very day. During the celebration, we tell parts of the story of Exodus, which is the story of the liberation of the Hebrew people from slavery under the Pharaoh's terrible rule and the escape to liberty. Pharaoh didn't want to let the people of Israel go at first, but God struck the 10 very painful plagues. The last and most painful plague was the death of the firstborn son in every house in Egypt. The Spirit of God passed from house to house, and every firstborn son died that night. Well, every firstborn in every house except the houses of the Hebrew slaves. The day before, Moses told the Israelites to sacrifice a lamb, then take a bunch of hyssop, which is a local plant, dip the branch in the blood of the sacrifice, and mark the doorway of every house of the Hebrew people. This way, the Holy Spirit was able to pass over all Hebrew houses, and only the Egyptian firstborn died that night. In Jesus' time, the animals that were sacrificed in Jewish temple during Passover were for a few reasons. One of them is to remember the sacrifice the Israelites made in Egypt in order for God to pass over their houses. After the awful night of the last plague where the firstborn in every Egyptian family died, Pharaoh released the Hebrew slaves. For Jewish people, this is the reason we call that night Passover, because God passed over the doorway of the Hebrew people. One of the ways to commemorate the event is the celebration of Passover supper every year. Another way to commemorate the Passover event is the mezuzah, which is placed on every doorstep of every Jewish family. The mezuzah commemorates the sign that Hebrews made on their doorstep in Egypt as a symbol for God's protection. One of the blessings the Jewish bless on Passover night is every Jew must see himself as if he came out of Egypt. This very same blessing was said by Jews in Jesus' time and probably by Jesus in the Last Supper. I have to admit, when I see all the Christian pilgrims walking in the last way of Jesus in Jerusalem and visiting the Holy Sepulchre, Calvary, and the tomb of Jesus, when they associate with the suffering of Christ, it seems like they say every Christian must see himself as he was walking to the cross. As one must sometimes sacrifice his own desires for a bigger global cause. In the Passover festive dinner, a part of telling the story of Exodus, every year we must drink 4 cups of wine and eat unleavened bread, which we call matzah. Jesus and the disciples did exactly the same. While they were eating, Jesus took the matzah bread, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take it, this is my body." Then he took a cup of wine and they all drank from it. And Jesus said, "This is my blood." Folks, 2 billion Christians all over the world having Mass or Holy Communion every Sunday and holidays as if they were in Passover dinner 2,000 years ago. raising the spirit of Jesus while eating Jesus' body and drinking his blood. I want to talk about where Judas betrayed Jesus and take you to the actual place where it's happened. Let's go to Gethsemane. Thank you for watching. To continue the journey, the full online course is now available at a special Black Friday and Christmas 50% discount. And you can also gift it to someone meaningful. Click the link in the description or the first comment to join.